So here's another addition and subtraction problem for polynomials. So once again, we're talking about q minus r plus 6 minus t. So the first thing I'm going to do is just substitute in my expressions for q, for r, for s, and for t. And I'm going to put each of those expressions in parentheses because I have to recognize that my minus signs here are going to affect the signs of my terms in the expression. So let's start with this one and let's kind of work our way through this again in terms of how we would break this up. Okay. So my 7m plus 3n is essentially going to stay as it is. I don't have to change that. Okay, but I need to recognize that this minus sign is going to apply to both terms in these brackets. We can look at that minus sign as one way to look at it would be adding the opposite. Okay, so because it's easier for me to think in terms of adding. So if I'm going to say I'm going to add, but I still have to take this minus sign and I have to apply it to each component that's in this entire set of brackets. So if I want to add the opposite of 11, then that's going to be negative 11. If I want to add the opposite of negative 2, then that's going to be that I'm going to be adding a plus 2m. If I'm going to add the opposite of n, then I can write that as a negative n. And if I'm going to add the opposite of 5, then that would be a negative 5. Okay, I can keep those brackets there, although I'll find as I move down that I probably will be able to just add everything as I have it written. I'm also going to subtract everything that's in this polynomial expression, or once again, I'm adding the opposite of. Okay, so the opposite of negative m is m. The opposite of negative 3n is 3n, and the opposite of 8 is a negative 8. So now I have everything with kind of plus signs between them, and I just have my negative terms in parentheses so that it's clear to me that I'm adding those negative terms. But the important part is recognizing that if I have this subtraction sign, it's going to apply to everything that is in the brackets or the parentheses that it precedes. So now I can look at this and I can start gathering my like terms. So I have 7m, whoops, I wrote that as an m, but that should be an n. I have 7m plus 2m plus another 1m. So I have 10m, okay, as my first term. I'm going to look for all the n's. I have a 3n, I have a negative n, and I have another 3n. So that's going to give me a total of 5n. Okay, then I'm going to add all of my constant terms. So I have a negative 11 plus a negative 5, that's going to be negative 16. Okay, plus a negative 8, so that's going to be a negative 24. So I could leave my answer that way, but again, probably the more routine way that we would see this for an actual solution we would just say, hey, it's 10m plus 5n minus 24. So this is the answer that you should get, and this is problem 2.60. So hopefully with some practice you're seeing this and it's just a little bit more clear for you.